Hello students. Now we are starting chapter number 14. This chapter is respiration in plant. So in human being we respire and we use the oxygen gas, and this oxygen is utilized for the breakdown of the complex material and then energy release along with the carbon dioxide. So this process is respiration. Now we are discussing respiration in plant. So let's you see what is respiration. Respiration is an energy releasing process, and this is regulated by enzymatic action. So enzymatically it's control the metabolic process, and the energy is released by the oxidation of the food step by step. So respiration is the energy release process. It is enzymatically controlled and is involved the stepwise oxidation and breakdown of the food substance inside the living cell. So the respiration, the equation of respiration is C6H12O6, the glucose molecule, and is oxidized. It means combined with oxygen, it forms carbon dioxide, water, and energy. So the energy released during the respiration is utilized by the organism to perform different activities. So living organisms require energy for others activities such as absorption, movement, reproduction, even in the breathing. And this energy is obtained from the oxidation of the food during respiration. Cellular respiration is the mechanism of breaking down of food material within the cell to release energy for synthesis of ATP. So if respiration occur in the cell, it's called the cellular respiration. So in this respiration also oxygen is utilized for the oxidation of food, and carbon dioxide and energy is released. Breaking down of complex molecule take place to produce the energy in cytoplasm and in mitochondria. We will see later that anaerobic respiration is occur in cytoplasm and aerobic respiration is occur in mitochondria. So breakdown of the glucose take place by both process. Breaking down of carbon-carbon bond of complex compound through the oxidation within the cell lead to release of the energy. So when glucose molecule is break up, then energy is released. So this glucose molecule is a respiratory substance. Other molecules such as protein, fat, they are also come under the category of respiratory substance. So energy is released during oxidation is not used directly. So during the oxidation process, whatever energy is released, it is not directly used, but it is utilized for the synthesis of the ATP, which is broken down when energy is required. Therefore, ATP is called the energy currency of the cell, because in ATP form the energy storage, and whenever cell required the energy, then it is released from the ATP. So ATP is a storehouse of the energy, so it is called the energy currency of the cell. So during the now we can come, do plant breathe like human being? Do plant breathe? So for the plants also they require oxygen during respiration, and they release the carbon dioxide. In photosynthesis, plants utilize the CO2 and release the O2. But in respiration, plants they require the oxygen for respiration, and they give out the carbon dioxide. Students, like human being, the plant do not have the specialized organ for the exchange of gases. In plant, they do not have the specialized organ for the exchange of gases, but they have some stomata in the leaf surface. They have lenticels in the bark surface, and this lenticel and stomata help for the exchange of gases. So why the plant do not have the specialized organ? Because the first part is each plant part take care of its own exchange. So it is the responsibility of each and every part of the plant to exchange the gases. as plants require little more transport of the gases. In human being and other animal, we require the more exchange of the gases, but the plant required less amount of exchange of gases. So the plant do not have the great demand of the energy and exchange of gases. Third important thing is root, stem and leaf, all the parts of the plant they respire as the lower than the animal rate. And another important part is in respiration. Respiration, the oxygen is utilized, and the cell photosynthesis availability oxygen is not problem in the plant cell. So thus in a plant the breathing occur. The process of respiration required oxygen, and this oxygen is taken by stomata, lenticule and root hair. As I told you, plant do not require more energy. Plant can get along without respiratory organ. They do not have the special respiratory organ. And why? The first part is all part of the plant take care the own exchange of need. Another, they do not present great demand for exchange of gases. Distance that gases must diffuse in the large plant is not great. So diffusion process, distance that gases must diffuse in large plant is not the great. And another, during photosynthesis, O2 is released in the leaf and diffused to other part of the leaf. So during photosynthesis, whatever O2 is released, that is also used for the respiration process, and that's why the plant do not require special organ for the exchange of gases. In respiration, the as I told you, glucose is utilized and it is the respiratory substance. So that compound that oxidize during the process of respiration and energy is released, that is called respiratory substance. In this process of respiration, energy is released, and energy is released by stepwise. It is controlled by the enzymatic action. So it trap in the form of ATP. So first one, substance which is used during respiration is called respiratory substance. From respiratory substance, the energy is released step by step under the control of enzyme. ATP act as the energy currency of the cell. So the respiratory substance, if you will see, it is respiratory quotient. So what is the respiratory quotient? It is the ratio of CO2 evolved and O2 consumed during the respiration is called respiratory quotient. So respiratory quotient RQ or respiratory ratio it is called. So RQ is what? RQ is the ratio of CO2 released during the respiration and O2 consumed during the respiration. The ratio of this one is called the respiratory quotient. So the respiratory quotient is depend on the type of the respiratory substance. As I told you, if when the respiratory substance is carbohydrate, it means glucose. In this cases, the RQ value will be 1. Why the RQ value will be 1? Because you will see the amount of carbon dioxide. Here in the reaction, see 6 O2 are used and 6 CO2 are also released. It means the amount of CO2 release and amount of oxygen used is equal, and that's why in carbohydrate RQ is 1. When fat are used as a respiratory substance, the RQ come less than 1. Why it's come less than 1? Because less amount of CO2 is released and more amount of oxygen is used. So in chemical reaction also you can say the value or RQ of fats come 0.7, and this is less than 1. When proteins are the respiratory substance, the RQ would be about 0.9. So in case of protein, if respiratory substance, its RQ come, respiratory quotient come 0.9. What is important to recognize is that living organism respiratory substance after more than 1. Pure protein or fat are never used as a respirator. Later we will see. So pure fat and pure proteins are not used directly by the organisms. Okay, so it is all about today the respiration in plants, and energy released during the respiration, and respiratory quotient. Thank you.